Good morning from the Styrian Hills and welcome to the first on-track action of this Austrian Grand Prix Sunday. Amid glorious blue sky conditions, we're ready to continue a really entertaining GP3 weekend. It's race 2 at round 2 of the 2017 GP3 series. I'm your commentator, Alex Jakes. Well, this glorious circuit always seems to deliver close racing, and yesterday was no different. It was an engrossing race which continued the weekend's theme of ultra close action, and that was the case in qualifying. It carried on into the race with an aggressive opening lap, some contact at turn 3, and then we had Russell and Aitken lapping almost metronomically at the same pace, lap after lap. George Russell won that battle to claim his first GP3 victory. Congratulations to him. Also in the field, we saw a terrific battle from 5th down to 12th, and the guys who profit the most from that, not in terms of points yesterday, but in terms of grid position today. Raul Hyman on pole, a 3rd points finish in a row for him yesterday. Alessio Lorandi chasing a 3rd podium in 4 races from 2nd place. Giuliano Alesi scored a personal best with 6th, that puts him 3rd today. And Ryan Tavita, 1 year on from his massive crash here in Formula 3, goes from 4th. Then we had the ART 1, 2, 3, 4, which puts them 5th with Hubert, 6th with Fukuzumi, 7th for Jack Aitken, and our winner yesterday said it was less straightforward than it appeared. George Russell goes from 8th. Boccolacci was the big loser from the battle from 5th down to 12th. He dropped out in the final stages to start 9th. Arjun Maini had a issue getting off the grid and did well to recover to 10th. Then we have Kevin Jorg, Marcos Siebert, and really shows you, really underlines how competitive it is. He was setting rapid lap times from the very back. Going to be really interesting to see how far he can get from 12th. Then we had Tatiana Calderon and Bruno Baptista, both very unhappy to be penalised 5 seconds that dropped them down to 13th and 14th. Then we have Julian Falciero, Nico Kari, Santino Ferrucci, Stotthorst and Porcini. Kari, Ferrucci and Stotthorst Porcini did not finish the race, and they will be hoping for better today. So the fight for 5th really was outrageous, went on for a very long time, formed behind Ryan Tavita, but it was these guys that came so close, rubbing bodywork all the way through, and it's been a really strong start to the season for Raul Hyman. This an altogether different challenge, of course. He will be hoping to be able to convert the reverse grid pole, but Lorandi, you saw the fist bump with the team there a few seconds ago. He will be desperately trying to get that podium I mentioned 2 times in Barcelona. He was on the podium, 7th yesterday. That puts him 2nd on the grid today. A terrific crowd. We always have a great attendance here. They are on the bank there at the top of the circuit. Track conditions really very, very good for the field. 30 degrees track temperature. It's already 21 degrees out there, and everyone's quite excited. Giuliano Alesi, he was pumped up as well, although he did add the caveat that it could have been a lot better. Said it was the best race so far, but he called it a really complicated race, and it would have been stressful to be in that battle. Remember, he was having to defend for his teammate Boccolacci for much of the race, and then he had to try and attack Tavita. Tavita, brilliant defensive driving, and remember, he will go again today. He's proven very, very difficult to get past. Nairei Fukuzumi, well, it's going to be fascinating to see how ART treated it. He said he had a very eventful race, crazy opening laps of the race, and he was really lucky to avoid the crash at turn number 3. He's the man that no one could pass yesterday. One of 2 American drivers in the field, who's part of that enormous 3-car accident that went around the world from Formula 3 last year around this circuit. So great for him to take some happy memories away from Spielberg, hoping to add to more of them. But we've got drivers at the back of the field today, slightly out of position, and we've got some really motivated drivers at the back there. I mentioned Marcos Siebert. He will be desperately trying to make amends for the session that really ruined his weekend. That was qualifying. He had the initial pace in practice. He will be a man to watch from 12th in the white and red Campos. Also Calderon, very frustrated indeed. didn't directly criticise it, but said she was very pleased to go from P19 to P9 with some good battles on the racetrack. So we have the green lights, but do we have our reverse grid pole sitter getting away? Eventually we do. Took a long time to react to those lights. Everyone able to get off the grid. Thankfully no stallers, and on we will go. So great conditions here for the race. Only the 4th of the season, of course, and they will be really, I wonder if we'll see as aggressive racing as we got yesterday, because that opening lap, of course, had a crash at this turn right here, and this gives you a fantastic idea of how undulating. This will show you what maybe the normal camera positions don't, which is how much they go downhill into this turn. We saw an awful lot of lockups there. It's all the way downhill, and then it dramatically drops away into the braking zone. You see the 150-meter board, the 100-meter board, and then the 50-meter board. So interesting mindsets as we recap the Drivers' Championship, with Russell now our leader, ahead of Fukuzumi, Hubert and Lorandi, who will be looking to repair some of the damage. But he will be very pleased. If you're not going to be able to be in contention in qualifying, remember he was down out of the top half of the field. It's important to use the nature of the reverse grid to get yourself further up for the second race of the weekend and keep yourself in the hunt for the championship. You can see 13 drivers have scored a point. We've had all the teams scoring so far, including Campos and Genza. Genza, of course, going for their 4th podium in 4 races today. Looking at the hierarchy there at Trident, will be slightly mixed feelings for them after what happened yesterday, but very strong stuff, scoring good points for the Trident team. Arden will be hoping for a better day than yesterday when they had all 3 cars retire, in direct contrast to ART, who managed a 1, 2, 3, 4 in massively impressive fashion. So tyre degradation, not really a massive issue yesterday, won't be an issue today. We'll be able to see these guys run flat out. DRS was not that effective, but they do have 4 uses of it, and 1 usage counts in both zones. There is the race director, Charlie Whiting, ready to get the 19 cars on the grid underway. Pulling in to the final spot, Leo Pulcini. We have the green flag at the back. So we look to the lights, and we have 3, 4, 5 for the second race for GP3. And now we're underway with a good start for the pole sitter. A bad start for Lorandi. He's immediately being swallowed. And Lacey has managed to get himself up to 2nd position. Tabita is looking for 3rd. And it looks like Lorandi is going to drop down to 4th at least. Might be even 5th. A car off the road in a big way. That's Hubert, who's lost a lot of places. And an Arden off in the background as well, as Lorandi tries to regain the position. But he's already wheel to wheel with a man who started down in 8th position. Our winner yesterday, Russell, but it's Hyman and Lacey, then Tabita coming under big pressure from the trio of ART cars led by Nairei Fukuzumi. Lorandi straight on to the tail of Russell. He's dropped from 2nd to 7th, which is where he finished yesterday. Not what he wanted at all. Hubert was lucky not to find the wall in turn number 1. Side by side between Russell and Lorandi. And of course, on that first lap, if you can't make the move, you're going to leave yourself vulnerable into the technical, tight and twisting part of the middle of this racetrack. Lorandi desperately trying to tuck in and come back, but a disaster for him. Exactly what Raoul Hyman would have wanted as he goes searching for his first podium. Indeed, what would be his first win in GP3. Lorandi has stabilised, and he's going to attack the race leader. The race leader from yesterday, the championship leader from now, and Lorandi not able to make it move, but we know he's super committed in this final part of the racetrack, and he will try and set up a move, but he's gone wide, and that exit speed is going to let George Russell off the hook. They're really fighting all the way through the field. Lorandi's poor exit is going to leave him vulnerable. Boccolacci trying to come towards him, not able to do so. Oh, so nearly creaming into the back of his teammate there. That would have been so easy to have an accident. in the early part of the race when the tyres and brakes are not up to temperature. But Leonardo Porcini, difficult day yesterday and running wide at turn number 1. Lorandi is still on the defensive, going down the inside, so close to contact with Nico Kari there. And that Seibert trying to get down the inside, but we didn't see what happened there. We're on board with Santino Ferrucci though. He is trying to improve from dead last at the moment. He's got Porcini, who ran wide at turn 1 directly in front of him. Then Arjamani, who's had a massive problem off the start as well because he's dropped down, mainly dropping down from 10th to 18th in the order, and you can see he's lost the 7 places at the start. Lorandi as well, another loser as they got away from the grid. So Julian Falciero getting very close indeed to the back of Kevin York. And Falciero not able to make the move, but this is not the part of the racetrack where you want to be overtaking. It's all about getting it together at this part. The first sector of the lap can really set yourself up as Alesi trying to peg back Raul Hyman, but at the moment, Hyman, the South African driver, is the fastest man on the racetrack. Focusing on Marcos Seibert there, really trying. Here's his teammate in the lead. Remember, no DRS, so no tactical usage of it at the moment. And the one thing that the guys in the top 3 have got to consider is that they've got the rapid ARTs behind Fukuzumi, Aitken and Russell. And now we have the DRS enabled, and that is going to change things. And Alesi will be hoping to use it and hoping it will be more effective on Hyman than it was on his teammate yesterday. So getting away from the start, it was a really poor start for the bright blue Genza of Alessio Lorandi, and you see immediately swallowed, took a big risk down the inside, did any that. You see Hubert was forced wide there and he went over the curb, cost him a little bit of momentum, indeed cost him the place, allowed Boccolacci to get past. On board with Nairei Fukuzumi then, good start for him. You can see the trouble that Lorandi is having in front of us, and as they went to turn 1, just kept it to the outside like he did yesterday. Same tactics, actually seeing the leader there going off the road at the front of the field. So a big moment there for Raul Hyman, and he will be very pleased indeed that this man got a slightly poor getaway, because he could have been very vulnerable indeed heading up to turn number 3. So immediately on the defensive, and that sinking feeling with the cars heading past. Look at how tight he was to the inside of turn 1. That would have compromised his exit heading up the hill. Indeed it did. And that breezing past is, first of all, Jack Aitken. And here comes George Russell. And that is how second became 7th in a blink of an eye. So using one of his DRS. Remember, he's allowed for Giuliano Alesi, setting the fastest lap of the race with a 1:21.9. That's just a 10th quicker than Raul Hyman was able to manage. And Hyman now, we've seen him attack really well. We've seen him defend quite nicely. And we saw him snatch points at the end of the first race of the year in Barcelona. Hyman has not been tested at the front of the field, though, and he's going to have to really show his defensive skill, because Alesi at the moment seems to have a better balance. Nairei Fukuzumi in 4th position, trying to get himself on the podium once again. Remember, he's already scored 2 podiums this year, one of which was victory, as he became one of 4 men in the field to win a GP3 race in their career. Another fastest lap for Fukuzumi, not for Fukuzumi, for Alesi rather, and he again 1/10 faster than Raul Hyman. So you see that he's gaining the 10th in the first part of the lap. Now Seibert really close to his teammate Falciero. This is the battle for 12th position, and Seibert down the inside has the line and now takes away 12th from his teammate. And so he's trying to put the good pace to try and rescue some points, using the DRS now to pull away from his teammate. And, well, really mixed emotions for him, because he's had the disaster of getting qualifying wrong. And when the field is so tightly packed together, when the margins are so tight around the shortest lap time of the year, that really is not a session that you could afford to get wrong. Sadly, he did. Looking back from Lorandi, he will be kicking himself, but he's stabilized in this race, and he finds himself racing Boccolacci. We're looking back at Boccolacci, and they both have all 4 DRS remaining. Giuliano Alesi has used one, Nairei Fukuzumi has used one, as has Jorg, Kari and Falchero. But Falchero, unfortunately for him, using it to try and come back from his teammate Siebert, who has managed to stay ahead. Boccolacci with a really great exit out of turn number 1. That's going to set him up nicely. Lorandi will know it as they go through the easy flat kink of turn number 2, and he's coming all the time. Is he going to try one to the inside? He is. Oh, he's going to go wide, surely. Yes, he is. And Lorandi is able to cut back and take the position back. Now Boccolacci is vulnerable for Anthony Hubert, who is tucking in. Hasn't got the use of DRS, it doesn't appear. So Lorandi kept cool. Boccolacci going for the late braking move, as was the, I think that was Kari in the background there, trying to get past Jorg. He dived to the inside of 4, but wasn't able to make it stick. So we're seeing really desperate moves attempted. Great to see the guys trying. They know that it's not as easy as they expected at the start of the weekend to pass, and this was late on the brakes for Boccolacci. Both of these guys have been on the podium so far this year, but it was just too deep into turn number 3, and Lorandi was able to rescue it. Back to Falchero, Julian Falchero, who started his motorsport career at 16 and is advised by the former French Formula 1 driver, Jean-Paul Jarier. Russell now setting the fastest lap of the race. Remember, he is down in 6th position in the order. So a relentless pace, and Hyman has been able to stabilise. He's been able to find a better balance. Alesi running quicker in the early laps, but last time around, Hyman 0.2 of a second faster than Alesi managed to achieve. And you can see the gap now up to 0.8 of a second as he tries to break away from the DRS zone. One man who's using DRS is Kevin Jorg, trying to defend from Nico Kari. He said he had a really difficult day. Contact at the first turn, and then a mechanical issue that put him out of the race. He said he was going to give it maximum attack, and we certainly saw a glimpse of that down into turn number 4. And so having to take risks to make the move, but of course if you make a half move, if you put yourself on the dirty part of the racetrack, you can really leave yourself vulnerable, because there is nothing really between the field. 10 seconds between the leader and his teammate Marcos Siebert. So you can really lose a handful of positions. Not as extreme as we saw yesterday, though, with that train that was nose to tail from 5th to 12th. So Alessio Lorandi has just gone over the line and set the fastest time of all, 0.2 faster than the leader. So he will be thinking what might have been, as we see Russell beginning to make a big impression on Jack Aitken. And Jack Aitken might have finished second yesterday, might have finished second in qualifying, but he's been pretty open about the fact he's not been happy with his car at all this weekend. Aitken saying it says a lot that he's disappointed with second, but that is the standard that he is setting. Confirmation of Lorandi's fastest lap. So 0.8 between the leader, but far less between these two. First and second yesterday. Reversed, of course, that is the way that they are at the moment, but they're battling over 5th position. Russell, who said it was a monkey off his back to win yesterday. He was worried that Jack was going to come back with DRS. It's not something Aitken managed to pull on his teammate yesterday. It's hopefully, from the point of view of George Russell, he's going to be able to do what his teammate couldn't one day ago. So they're keeping their powder dry when it comes to DRS. All 4 remaining. Boccolacci is down to 2 DRS in his attempt to try and clear Lorandi. But these guys, both affiliated to Formula 1 programs. You've got the Renault logo on the background there for Jack Aitken. You've got the Mercedes logo on the crash helmet of Russell. And at the moment, the Mercedes junior driver sitting in 6th position, looking much more comfortable, as he has been throughout the weekend after they had problems in practice. They had a late session with the engineers. They found the answers they were looking for, and well, I thought he was going to try and move there, but thinks better of it, and it is always an big problem there for Bruno Baptista, who seems to have been off the road because he's got an issue with his tyre at the rear there. Very dirty tyre. And this is it, the final part of the lap. Wow, there he is, huge air for Bruno Baptista. Look at that wheelie stuff for the Brazilian. Not that he would have wanted to be pulling it, and that would have been a huge jolt on his back. Remember, the driver sits so low in the car, there's hardly any clearance between the ground, and that would have been a massive hit. One that would not be welcome at all. You can see all the marbles offline. That is when you need the grip in the final sector of the lap. They're coming to that corner right now. I can tell you that Baptista has continued for the moment, albeit 17 seconds away from the man in front, which is still Leonardo Pulcini. So great battle between the two leaders, great battle for 5th position, and now Ryan Tavita coming under pressure for the final podium place. Just more of the same for Ryan, that's what he'll be thinking. Had pressure all the way through the race yesterday, didn't seem to be a problem for him at all. Fukuzumi has been so impressive in this, his 2nd year. Points in every race so far, and looking to try and take yet another podium, forcing Tavita to the defensive line. This for 3rd, of course. We're on board with the man currently in 4th, but he's now in the vision of his racing rivals, wing mirrors, and forcing him to the inside line on 2 consecutive corners. He's having to use a part of the racetrack that he wouldn't want. That will affect the use of the tyres, and meanwhile you can see that far from being passed by his teammate, Aitken has gone on a charge, and Russell has fallen back quite dramatically, considering he was right on his gearbox a few laps ago. So Aitken now on the charge. He said yesterday that he left it too late to try and push. The degradation, nothing like we saw at the first round in Barcelona. That's because there are no real high-speed corners around this racetrack like you have with a long turn 1 and turn 2. Fukuzumi getting very close, but not quite able. And he knows that you don't really want to make the move into turn number 1, because then the overtaking battle can go for almost the entire half of the lap. So not exactly what Fukuzumi is. He racing sensibly, thinking about the move there, but he's still got great momentum. Is this an opportunity to use DRS? At the moment, he has 2 remaining. Here's the DRS zone. Is he going to go on to the attack? Not this time. So now it's, if we go back, you see Russell really has fallen back dramatically, and you see, I said it would be a massive hit, and you can see, unfortunately, that Bruno Baptista is holding his back. So hopefully not a serious injury, but you can see why. Massive hit with the front wheels off the ground. And Baptista will be off to the medical centre to get that reviewed, I am sure. So Alessio Lorandi is now the man on the charge, setting faster lap times than Russell. You see a little bit of wear on the inside of Russell's tyre. So that is the problem. Tried to push, couldn't get past, and now is vulnerable to the car behind. That is true if you're in the lead by 9/10 of a second, like Raul Hyman is, or if you're down in 18th place like Leonardo Pulcino is. And Nico Kari once again seems to have mechanical issues. It took him out of the race yesterday, and it seems to be taking him out of race 2 today as he drifts back downhill to the pit lane. And Nico Kari's difficult weekend continues, and it's another pointless performance for the Finnish driver. Wouldn't have been the way that he wanted to start the season. Certainly when you join a team like Arden, 2nd in the Teams Championship last year, and they really are having a difficult time of it at the start of this season. Didn't have the easiest time. Do you see how much Russell was going off the road there, using all of the racetrack to try and catch his teammate in front and try and get a little bit of air between him and Alessio Lorandi, who you can just see Russell does have the advantage of the extra DRS. But as we've seen, DRS is helping the drivers, but it's not getting them alongside. So in that respect, it's still down to the drivers to make the move. And once again, Ryan Tavita, who had a difficult debut in Barcelona, is finding himself no points there, but once again, a really strong run. But we're getting a little bit of what we saw yesterday. Tavita bringing a train of cars to the back of his Trident. It didn't faze him yesterday. I wonder if he can deal with yet more pressure. We saw the battle come alive in the final stages. It was running in formation for a large chunk of the GP3 race yesterday. Are we going to get more of the same? It certainly looks that way. It's going to be thrilling. So Nico Kari has gone back to the pits, and Arden have managed to send him out there, but he is 18th. Of course, we only have the one retirement so far. 4 yesterday, 1 today. Bruno Baptista, you've already seen out of this race, and unfortunately clutching his back. Hopefully that is not going to mean any chance of him. Oh, Kari lighting it up out of the pit lane, nearly doing what Artem Markelov did in GP2 1 year ago and clobbering the tyre barrier. So hopefully no issues with Baptista continuing in a week's time. Remember, we're running practice at Silverstone on the Thursday, so not really a lot of time to recover. Back to Nairei Fukuzumi, the Honda junior driver. Every single team has a connection to a driver in the field in one form or another. McLaren have their connection through Honda with Fukuzumi, and he will now see that these two, remember, it's Lorandi running in 7th, as he has been from the opening stages of this race, with only 5 to go. Where has that gone? We've had the race ripped by. It is such a short lap here that the races do seem to disappear before your eyes. Porcini setting the fastest lap of the race. He would take the points, the 2 extra points for fastest lap, if he was able to keep that, because you've got to finish in the top points paying positions in order to carry the 2 points for fastest lap. Lorandi watching Russell, who's watching Aitken, who's watching Fukuzumi, who's trying to work out what no one managed to do yesterday to displace. As we go back to the leader, haven't seen a lot of him. He was off the road at turn 1 at the start of the race, but it's been relatively simple. Great battle, and last time around, identical lap time. That's the good news. You can see the rear tyres, quite a lot of degradation there. So the good news for him is that it's been quite good. The bad news for him is right there. It's Giuliano Alesi, and he's only 0.7 of a second away, and Alesi will be trying to heap the pressure on the shoulders of the South African driver, because remember, the South African driver who didn't have a full racing campaign last year, and Alesi has a whole year of GP3 experience. He didn't run in this round a year ago, had to sit it out for medical reasons, but he is showing his form. This has been a real breakthrough weekend for Giuliano Alesi, but it looks like Hyman at the moment is going to deny him victory. That could all be about to change. I think that's DRS open for Alesi. It is. He's going on the charge. Remember, Hyman has all 4 remaining. So even if Alesi is able to get past, it's not over yet. Superlative consistency from Ryan Tavita, who has made use of track position, and he really hasn't been phased. Doesn't matter who's been behind him this weekend. He's just looking forward and doing really well. But it's his teammate who is the main threat to victory. He's got to be careful to keep it all together, because remember, his teammate is only 4 seconds behind, and we are in for a thrilling finish. One lockup will decide this battle. Easier, of course, to chase than be chased as they come round and begin lap number 16. DRS once again. We saw it at the top of the hill. This is actually the second zone that he deploys it, and Alesi now has the 1 usage of DRS. Is he going to use it on this lap? Is he going to leave it until later? 10th faster, as you can see, that time away to bring it down to half a second, but a great exit from turn 1 will help Hyman keep the lead. Car number 27 leading in Austria. It's Arjun Maney now who set the fastest lap of the race, but he won't claim the points from his teammate because he's way down there in 17th, and after a really strong start to the season, a disappointing weekend for the Indian driver who is affiliated to the Haas Formula 1 team. Alesi chose to use the DRS straight away, and now Tavita coming under massive threat from Nairei Fukuzumi, who goes to the outside and will try and use his momentum to force Tavita offline. First, second, here comes third, under massive pressure now, and Aitken hoping to pick up anything that comes his way. He has gained massively on his teammate who had a look. And third, fourth and fifth running through your picture very quickly indeed. Tavita though, just great traction, great mechanical grip. It's been set up perfectly, and he doesn't have the ultimate pace of these guys, but he has run a super race in both races, and he's 2 laps away from a maiden GP3 podium that he would richly deserve. But it's not going to be that easy. You can see Boccolacci has an absolute hatful of pace over Alessio Lorandi. Tavita going to the inside. Oh, it's really desperate stuff now. That's going to compromise him all the way up the hill. Are we likely to make turn number 1? But Aitken has run wide in the background. Doesn't give the place away. Russell not able to improve. But a man who might be able to is Nairei Fukuzumi on the penultimate lap of the race. Tavita once again inch perfect, and he's got the traction, but this time Fukuzumi will have the DRS. Tavita has got all 4 remaining, but he can't use it, of course, because he's being chased, and Nairei Fukuzumi is going to the grass to take away 3rd position, and it's going to be a 3rd podium unless Tavita can get on the DRS next time around and come back. But after doing so well all weekend long at repelling drivers, Fukuzumi has been able to do what no one was able to do in the first race and get past. It is turning into some campaign for the Honda junior driver. He has claimed the final spot on the podium, and Aitken will be kicking himself because he was right behind Fukuzumi. It could have been 3 wide into turn number 4, but it hasn't turned out that way. We're about to head on to the final lap of the race. Alessio Lorandi putting George Russell under massive pressure. Good pace for Russell earlier on, but he's not been able to improve from the 6th position that he's held from the opening lap of this race. Russell having a look down the inside, trying to unsettle his teammate. Tavita, of course, remember, will have DRS. He will be within a second of Fukuzumi. And the train continues now. On board with Alessio Lorandi, the 2 ARTs very close together, but once again, Aitken and Russell still not able to get past each other. Hubert getting very close to Boccolacci in the background now. We're going on board with Alessio Lorandi. This is 7th position, looking to make it 6th, but we've got a driver ahead. When George Russell, who's got the DRS, so having to defend. Oh, massive accident. Oh, and rolling over, horrible crash. Thankfully, he's landed the right way up, but Dorian Boccolacci out of the race with a spectacular barrel roll, and thank goodness he landed the right way up there. So easy for the... And he made contact with Alessio Lorandi, so easy for the rollover hoop to dig in. So dramatic stuff there. But here is Raul Hyman, who comes over the line to win for the first time in GP3. Raul Hyman from South Africa is a GP3 winner. Alesi will take his first podium, and it's Fukuzumi on the podium. And great to see that Dorian Boccolacci is out of the car and seemingly all right. That was something else. Just completely got it wrong into the braking zone. And here is your race winner under enormous pressure all the way through, but he has managed to convert the pole, as we've seen in Formula 2, as we've seen in GP3 yesterday. It's the man on pole once again who has triumphed. Raul Hyman, congratulations to you. But this was the enormous crash. Dorian Boccolacci just couldn't make his mind up which way to go, and that is truly spectacular. And then into the gravel that sent him over. You can see the hands off the steering wheel at that point. That is a violent, violent crash. And see the camera ripped off the top of the car, the floor cracked. But thankfully, the driver is okay. So this is on board, and it's going to be a massive hit for Lorandi. There is Boccolacci heading through, and it cost Lorandi 1 position, but Lorandi was able to come home in 8th place. Hubert was able to profit from that crash, but Lorandi was able to circulate round and finish the race to take the final point, which is incredible when you consider the impact at the rear of the car, that he was able to continue and finish, but he did manage to do so. So Lorandi scoring points in all 4 races so far this year. just like we saw, when the cars bunch together, it can be a real issue at the end of the race, of course, where the drivers are desperately trying to make the move. And we've got our winner coming back to the pit lane. So the train that Tavita caused yesterday, causing late drama and even more, but thankfully it's worked out all right. Giuliano Alesi elated and into the arms of his father. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Remember, only 1 points finish last year for Alesi. Arguably came in to GP3 a year too soon, but now he is showing what he can do. And what he can do is score podiums. Here, though, is your race winner. 21 years of age from South Africa. One of 9 rookies in the field. And it means that we've got 5 race winners in the field now. Fukuzumi triumphed in Barcelona, then we had Arjun Maini, George Russell yesterday, and our 4th different winner is Raul Hyman. Campos back up, getting congratulations from the boss. And he's really, really emotional with this one, and he deservedly so. He had to be inch perfect. Remember, we saw him off the road at turn number 1 at the start of the race, and then afterwards it was pretty simple for him. But we always hear from the drivers afterwards it's never that simple. You will hear the South African national anthem for him as he completes the administration that he needs to, replace the steering wheel, make sure everything's sorted. Nairei Fukuzumi is coming over to congratulate his man, but we are seeing an awful lot of converted pole positions. That is going to give a lot of hope later on to Artem Markelov, who is on the reverse grid pole for Formula 2. So as the celebrations begin for Raul Hyman, let's see this enormous accident between Boccolacci. Just couldn't make his mind up which way to go. By the time he did, it was over the tyres. And you see, he was so lucky not to come down on the car in front of Lorandi and then into the gravel. These incredible pictures showing the violence of the accident. I can tell you, if you just switched on your TV this Sunday morning, Boccolacci is okay. He has stepped away from this big crash. We saw an airborne incident for Bruno Baptista and a serious barrel roll for Dorian Boccolacci. This was on board with Lorandi, who was running in 7th at the time. Incredibly, despite the damage to his rear wing and the back of the car, he was able to finish this race in 8th position. These are the top 3 then: Hyman, Alesi and Fukuzumi. Ryan Tavita, great defense all weekend long, but unable to claim a place on the podium. So slight disappointment for him, but a good haul of points, with 5th yesterday and 4th today. Aitken was able to repel Russell, and Hubert able to complete another big haul of championship points, with Fukuzumi on the podium. This was the moment, though, that the 21-year-old who managed to fend off Alesi, crossed the line. He knew he'd done it, and Alesi delighted. Here's the Trident team celebrating, getting back on the podium. They had Boccolacci up there in 2nd place in Barcelona, and today in Spielberg they've got Giuliano Alesi up there. And here come the top 3, and at the back our race winner, and let's listen in to see if they're discussing the race.
Thanks. Fastest lap, huh? Oh, no. Is it? You were fastest lap. I think it was you.
Fortunately, George and Dave was off. He made the gap and tried to I didn't try to take process. Right.
Where did you guys finish? 10 and 11.
Did you see Boccolacci?
I don't know. Because he started, what, P10 or something?
Boccolacci? Well, same crash the last
Because Lorandi, at the last lap.
So it's a 5th career podium for Nairei Fukuzumi, but we used to love watching this man in Formula One, and now his boy's living up to the family name. Sean Alesi will be a very proud father in just a few moments' time. We did see the championship updated there on your screen. It now means that Nairei Fukuzumi, the man who's going to come out first onto the podium, is your new series leader on 54 points, just ahead of his teammate on 53. And here he is to receive yet another trophy in what is looking a very strong campaign. Giuliano Alesi comes out to huge cheers, and you can see what it means to him. Oh, magic stuff. But for the first time in GP3, Raoul Hyman is going to climb onto the top step and hear the national anthem of South Africa.
The South African national anthem.
A super moment for him, shaking his head, and another great moment coming his way as he lifts the trophy aloft. You can see how much it means to him, and he really did have to work hard. This was the man applying the pressure for the first time in GP3. It's a podium finish for Giuliano Alesi. And Nairei Fukuzumi into the lead of the championship. It's a title battle that is going to run and run, and he is looking every inch the favourite at the moment to take the fight to his teammates.
They stand on the top step of the podium for a photo, and now it's time for the champagne!
So one more for the album, and now it might only be 47 minutes past 9. But it's time for the champagne, and all three of them had to make key moves. In the leader, he had to manage to get off the line. He did that. He took care of the start. Alesi profiting from the Randy's poor getaway and that great move from Fukuzumi on a day where it proved once again slightly more difficult to overtake. So the top three exiting the podium. A little moment of reflection for Hyman. And we do not have long to wait for the next race. We are going for practice on Thursday, a 4-day weekend, action on every day. Join us then when GP3 returns.